So, welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And today we are, well, imagine like stepping into a time machine, right? And you're going back to 19th century America. It was a time of like this crazy religious fervor. It was a time of societal change. And we're going to kind of dive into all of that today. We're going to be exploring the story behind this new musical called Brother Joseph. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, this isn't for me. I don't like musicals. But just hear me out for a second. This isn't really even about the music. You know what I mean? It's about the story, this incredible story that it tells. And it's actually a piece of American history, and it has lessons for all of us, no matter what you believe.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it really all revolves around the lives of Joseph Smith and his wife, Emma. You know, we're talking like early years of Mormonism. And this musical, it takes like a really unique approach to telling their story, you know?
So yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm interested. What is it about their story that makes it like worthy of a musical? Why not just like a book or a documentary?
Well, the creator of the musical, you know, he makes this argument that a book or a documentary wouldn't really do this story justice, you know? Like it wouldn't have the emotional depth, it wouldn't be able to cover all the complexity.
Yeah.
Musical theater is interesting because it lets these characters speak their mind through dialogue, but then it lets them reveal their hearts through song and through dance, right?
So it's like you get a whole nother layer of understanding as it goes beyond just like the facts, right?
Yeah, precisely. Think about it like those really profound spiritual experiences that are like at the heart of Joseph and Emma's journey. These feelings, you know, feelings of faith, feelings of doubt, feelings of conviction. These are things that oftentimes defy logic and reason and music. I think music really captures that raw emotion. I think it captures it in a way that words alone just can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what? You're making me think about something that we were reading in the source material. You know that early convert, Ezra Thayer? He felt this overwhelming, exquisite joy just holding the Book of Mormon. I mean, even before reading it. So that right there, that's a powerful example of how feelings can drive so much of this narrative.
Absolutely. And you can see how that intensity, that emotional intensity, it would just be lost if you tried to like cram this whole story into like, you know, a 2-hour documentary or something. And that's not the only reason they decided to go with the longer format. There's another reason too, and that is that it lets them give a more nuanced portrayal of the antagonists.
Now, hold on a second. Nuanced antagonists. I mean, I'm used to seeing antagonists as like pretty straightforward villains, right? Especially when we're talking about like a historical drama.
Yeah, right. But the creator of this musical, he argues that a lot of Joseph and Emma's opponents were actually devout individuals themselves, you know? They got caught up in all this misinformation, all this fear about this new religious movement that was coming up. And so they weren't necessarily bad people. They were just making choices based on, you know, limited information. You know, based on societal pressures, stuff like that.
That's a really interesting perspective. You know, it almost makes them more relatable. It almost makes them more understandable, right? And it kind of reminds me of how misinformation and fear still drive so many conflicts in the world today.
That's exactly the point. When we start to understand this historical context, what happens is we gain insights into human behavior that transcend any particular time period, any belief system. And that's what makes Brother Joseph relevant to everyone. I mean, anyone who's ever grappled with, you know, questions of faith, questions of conviction, or like just the dangers of unchecked prejudice and things like that. It's, you know, what's really fascinating to me is if you were to like strip away the religious aspects of it all, you're still left with like this profoundly human story. You know?
Oh, you're totally right. This isn't just some story for people who share Joseph and Emma's faith. I mean, at its very core, at its heart, Brother Joseph is about love.
Yeah.
It's about loss, betrayal, the struggle for acceptance. You know, these are universal themes. These are things that we can all connect with.
Exactly. I mean, take their love story, for example. Emma, she came from a well-off family. She was very well educated. And then you had Joseph, who was a laborer. Very little formal education. And I mean, it's a tale as old as time. It's love, you know, defines societal norms and expectations.
And you know what? Their love, it was tested in ways that I think most of us can't even imagine. I mean, the source material talked about the loss of 6 of their 11 children. I mean, that's just heartbreaking.
It really is. And then you add in, you know, the constant persecution they faced. Think about it. Tarred and feathered, driven from their homes, facing mob violence. I mean, it's really hard to wrap your head around, you know, like the level of fear and uncertainty that they must have lived with every single day.
It's just a brutal reminder that the fight for religious freedom, it's an ongoing battle, you know, even in a country like ours, a country that was founded on that very principle.